My guest at this time is the hottest free agent in all of professional wrestling. It's filthy Tom Lawlor. Tom, thank you very much for taking some more time to chat with me here for the Daily.
I appreciate you giving me that accolade, Nick, but there's a lot of free agents out there, and a lot of guys are really talented. One of them just got taken off the market yesterday, Speedball Mike Bailey. So that's one less guy who's better than me that's out there. So I'm inching closer and closer to being the hottest one.
So wait, are you a free agent because you still are you're a city champion in New Japan? You're the strong openweight champion right now.
Yeah, I'm currently not under contract with any professional wrestling organization for anything other than single dates. Now, how long that'll remain the case, I don't know. Hopefully, not very long. To be fair, but I have been contacted for some pretty interesting independent shows, so I have to check on the dates of those, and we'll see what happens in the future. But I'm expecting something by the end of this week, if not sooner.
Okay, fair enough. So with MLW, why did you decide to not renew? Why did you decide to allow yourself to go out there and become a free agent now? You've been with them for years, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess that's one of the issues, right? Is I've been there for years. I've been there for 4 years, and just there comes time, I guess, when you either move on or you continue down the path that you're going, and with so much uncertainty over the past year, the past 2 years. Unfortunately, I find myself in a financial position which I don't need to really be under contract with anybody if I don't want to. So, I mean, MLW and I talked. They gave me a great deal. I'm not going to complain about the offer that was out there, but at the end of the day, I think it was time to kind of move away from there. I'm not saying that I won't be, hopefully, I will be back in the future. Hopefully there'll be a scenario in which I can step into the MLW ring again, but I don't know when that'll be.
Okay, fair enough. And so it sounds like it was very amicable with MLW. The final conversations were all very positive. It sounds like.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so. I went out there and, I'd like to think I tried as hard as I could to do my job.
Yeah.
And, I think it was a mutually beneficial relationship in most ways for both of us. There's during the pandemic, I was doing it like content for them left to right almost every week, trying to keep not only myself, but them out in the news. They helped me out a few times with getting, extra bookings, that sort of thing, put me in contact with other promotions. So like I said, I mean, I have no qualms about spending my time there for the past 4 years. And like I said, I wouldn't, I'm not opposed to going back there in the future, but for right now, I'm a free agent.
All right. Well, obviously there's 2 big fish in the pond. I'll start with that here. So have you personally ever talked to Tony Khan, Tom?
No, not unless it was on like the DVD VR message board back in the day. I don't remember doing so. So no, I've had no talks with anybody from that side. Or the other big one that I'm assuming you're going to bring up.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Well, because here's the ring. The reason I started with the AEW stuff.
You're talking about WoW, right?
Yeah, WoW. Yeah, you going to go join AJ? Is that the plan? You and AJ Mendez and Tessa Blanchard having a good time? No, the reason I brought up AEW first is, man, there's an act right now in AEW that I don't know. I think you'd be a good fit for. I don't know. You've worked with him before. What do you think of what Dan Lambert is doing right now over in AEW land?
Yeah, I don't think that they necessarily need me in that angle whatsoever. They've got plenty of stars on the ATT side of things. They've got Jorge Masvidal, who's, a far bigger star in the world of MMA than I ever was. Paige Van Zant, which, brings in an entirely different demographic, for MMA viewers. So, Dan Lambert's an awesome mouthpiece. It's not like they need somebody to go out there and talk for them. Junior Dos Santos, he was the champion, the heavyweight champion of the UFC. It doesn't get much more, prestigious than that. He won that huge fight over Cain Velasquez on Fox that had like great viewership back in the day. So, like I said, I don't think I'm needed for them at all.
Well, the reason I brought up is I just see you as like kind of in a cross section, right? Where you got all the legitimate MMA badasses, and then I know you've worked with Ethan before on the independents. You guys are friendly. I would imagine you guys would enjoy working together with one another.
Yeah, I had a blast. I'm actually the only man, I think, besides himself, to face the Karate Man.
That's right.
Who I own 2 wins over.
That's right.
So I do have some history with him, but like I said, there's been nothing there. So
okay, what do you think of the product AEW is putting out right now? Are you a fan of like the current pro wrestling landscape with what we've largely got with AEW and WWE?
Yeah, I haven't. Or I guess early on, I wasn't able to watch as much AEW just because of like my life schedule. But I found more time recently. My kids have grown up, so timing changes a little bit. And I found more time to watch the shows. And now with Hulu, I can get the West Coast feed live. So it's a lot easier to watch it rather than having to watch it later on at night. So I have caught a lot more of it, and for the most part, A+. The action's great. The angles aren't insulting. For the most part, I can't think of something. I mean, obviously, there's always going to be blunders like the explosion with Kingston and Moxley, but I thought they did as good of a job trying to cover that up as they could. And the 69 me Don comment from Omega almost made the entire thing worth it. So, and now after seeing Onita and Tremont, I'm not sure I want to see too many explosions going off, to be fair. So,
dude, that was crazy, man. Like,
yes.
First of all, as we're recording, Tremont is in the hospital, recovering from very serious burns. That's one of the craziest things I've ever seen, man.
I hope he's all right. I mean, really, watching like the feed of that, it looks bad enough when he gets thrown into the explosives, midway through the match, and then there's fireworks going off forever. But I saw like a crowd cam shot of that, and as bad as the professional version looked, the crowd shot is 10 times worse, and I mean, hopefully it recovers 100%, but I mean, he's lucky that it's only, some burns, hopefully. Really wild.
So what drew you in? What made you want to check out Onita Tremont?
I think people were saying that Bixen Span shit his pants or something on the show.
I saw that.
And then it just became a big thing. And I'm like, I gotta check this show out if there's that much hullabaloo about it. I'm going to, I'll be quite honest. I've shit my pants as an adult. I had I lived in Australia for a few months, and there was a coffee shop that was walking distance from my apartment, and they had $40 a week, all you can drink coffee, which that's a hell of a deal. And I love coffee. So I would sit there and I'd get like, a few long blacks, maybe 4 long blacks a day, which is it's pretty good. That's a good amount. And they don't have a bathroom at this coffee shop for some reason. Yeah. So I had to run home, like if I had to go to the bathroom. And this time I thought I made it. I was on the toilet, and then I looked down and I noticed I didn't. So, if Bix found himself in that unfortunate situation and he's just covering it up, he's not alone.
I don't think Bix shit his pants, for what it's worth. He's been very adamant.
I don't think so either. But I'm saying, even if he did, I have. Okay, if he did or he didn't, I have. So there's nothing to be ashamed about.
He's just very
adamant. There is something to be ashamed about. But
you wore the Pampers trunks for so long. I figured you'd shit your pants at some point.
Yeah, valid point.
Yeah, exactly. No, and again, Bix has been very forthright that he's not the one who crapped his pants at the Onita Tremont match. Wow.
Anyway, that's how I ended up watching it anyways.
Well, cool. So like you don't seem you seem kind of nonplussed by the AEW WWE stuff. I know you're a guy that really values his independence. Do you see yourself more as kind of just a top name indie journeyman? Is that a role you're more comfortable with?
I mean, at this point, who knows? The world is so bizarre. It seems like things are starting to kind of open up a little bit. I have a lot of fun working the indies, to be honest. Like, I like traveling to smaller cities or bizarre places that people don't always go in wrestling. I've been largely all around the world, but a lot of times, you go to big spots, you go to, like Las Vegas, you go to Philadelphia, you go to LA, you go to Seattle, but I like going to like Hermiston, Oregon, I like going to Jeffersonville, where is it? Indiana, I think. I don't even know where this place is. I love going to Cleveland, Ohio, right? Okay. Which most people hate. So I have a blast at all these shows, and you get some degree of artistic license that you don't get at some of the other shows. And, with the way that wrestling's kind of evolved, right? With the territory system, guys would work 5 or 6 times a week. And that's how they would get really, really good. Well, and even later on, guys would be working more with house shows and stuff. Now with COVID, you'd be lucky to work 1 or 2 times a week. You know what I mean? So I think being exposed to all these different kinds of crowds really helps the wrestler. You figure out what works in front of certain crowds. You figure out if something doesn't work, more importantly, how to adjust on the fly in front of some of these crowds. And, sometimes it works out great. Sometimes it doesn't, and you learn from it. But without going to these different markets and some of these smaller places, you don't get that feeling. You know what I mean? And I think it's something that's really cool that you don't get in a lot of other things. You don't, like in MMA, you don't get that interaction with the crowd on the same level, obviously, that you do in the pro wrestling match. So it's just a different feel, I love it. So I love working the indies.
So, but obviously at the same time, you're still a sitting New Japan champion, which is crazy to think about. You just talking about how much you love the indies and stuff. Like that relationship, what is that relationship like? And do you see maybe in 2022, are you maybe starting to open the door, maybe go over to Japan, get some matches in over there? Is that something you'd like to see happen next year?
Well, I mean, it's obviously it's been a long-term goal of mine to wrestle over in Japan. It's just the last 2 years really haven't been good for it. Now, on the other side, when you mentioned New Japan and the work I've done there, I don't know that I would have been afforded that opportunity if things had been open up and things had been regular. Perhaps they would have been sending all guys from the New Japan system or all their guys under contract over here to work those shows. And who knows if I would have been given a chance, to be featured pretty prominently on New Japan Strong. So I kind of have to look at my time there so far is really, I don't want to say lucky because I've put in a lot of work, but I've been lucky to be there at the time that I did and have the chances that I did, because I don't know that would have happened otherwise, but at the same time, it's like, sure, I'd love to be on the New Japan main roster. I'd love to be wrestling at the Tokyo Dome instead of wrestling, in Port Hueneme, in California,
which you love,
I love doing that too. So
exactly right. We're not trying to talk down to Port Hueneme. Yeah. Okay, got it. So, but yeah. So anyway, with the New Japan stuff, like I know you worked with Suzuki here recently as well. Like, what's that like for you to get to work with a legend like him? I mean, I'm sure you guys are 2 peas in a pod when you get together.
I mean, obviously it's awesome, just because of his accomplishments. But I'll be honest, it's like when I put myself in there with these guys, like, so I used to go to the Impact Zone and watch a lot of wrestling back when I was in college and just fresh out of college. And I remember I'd go watch like Low-Key, Alex Shelley, guys like that. And when you end up having to get in the ring with them years later, I think it's a lot more beneficial to, you have to like detach yourself from that completely. Because to me, I try to view this, when I do it properly, like a fight would be, and you can't walk into a fight and be starstruck by the person who you're going against. So, to me, that's one of the most important things. After the matches are done, I'm like, man, that was pretty cool. Like I got to wrestle Suzuki. I got to wrestle Alex Shelley. I got to wrestle these guys, Davey Richards, some of these guys that I was watching. But when you're out there about to do it, the worst thing you could do is kind of put these guys on a pedestal and, take yourself out of it. Really. Yeah. I'm out there to be a competitor. I'm out there to win that match. Damn it.
I feel that. So, before we wrap up, one of the other big things I want to get your take on was, you are a free agent right now. There's one less major promotion, it would seem, on the table right now to go work at, and that's Ring of Honor, man. So, was that a place that you had maybe been thinking about going to or talking with about working with more in the future or anything like that?
Well, unfortunately, they had this business change before I was a free agent, and I wasn't gonna mess around with any tampering or anything. So I was hoping that I would get a chance. I loved watching Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor was the original Ring of Honor was like one of the things that kept my interest in wrestling going after the death of WCW.
Yeah.
I was like a sophomore in college when Ring of Honor started. I watched all the DVDs. I loved it. So it would have been cool to wrestle on one of the shows. I was able to years ago, I think 2014, I was able to manage Red Dragon in a match against the Young Bucks in which they won. So I did get to, I guess, perform in Ring of Honor. I managed Red Dragon against the Kingdom as well in a match. So I get to perform a few times, I guess, but I would have much rather had it been for the pure title against Josh Woods or somebody, obviously that pure title is like a concept and something that I think is awesome. I think it's cool. And hopefully they keep it around in whatever, manner they can, but yeah, it sucks.
Yeah, dude. Cause I mean, I could see you in there with Gresham and Bennett and Woods, like you said, like that division. I
had a blast. I wrestled Mike Bennett. He was a last second replacement at Black Label Pro.
That's right.
Last August, I believe. And I was blown away by how good he was in there wrestling against him. So yeah, I would have loved to have wrestled him. Gresham obviously is like top of the line. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's still time, Tom. There's still a lot of time.
And I mean, who's saying I won't wrestle those guys somewhere else? Or who's saying that, hopefully Ring of Honor does come back under whatever, promotional guidelines they're talking about doing in the future. And, maybe I'll get a chance to work there. Who knows?
Yeah. All right. Hey, Tom. Well, thank you for talking with me today. I don't think there was nothing there. I think there were many things there that we talked about that were of value. I mean, you're a hot free agent right now, man. I'm probably wherever you're going to wind up next. I'm going to have to go through a PR person. They're going to be like, he's not available for whatever reason, So
doubtful.
I don't know, man. We'll see. Anything you want to put over here before we wrap up the conversation today?
No, absolutely nothing. I had a good time talking to you, Nick.